What is up, Fantasy Kingdom? Welcome back to the Fantasy Kings podcast. I am your host, The Peez, joined by my co-host, Carlito. Say what up.
What's up, Peezy? How you doing?
Doing really well, man. Getting ready for this super exciting season. We made it. It's time to go. But before we get there, we want to talk about some auction draft things that we've seen. We've done. I still have one auction draft left this week, so do you. But we want to talk about the guys that we have on our team most frequently and what they've been going for. So that's what we're going to do. And today we're going to start off with my number one running back that I've had on a lot of my teams, which is Austin Ekeler. Now, I have Ekeler in 3 different leagues, and he has cost me, and they're all $300 budget. Just that's what we're talking about here. So I've got him in one league at $87. I've got him in one league at $96, and then one league at $106. I think Eckler's primed for another big season. You know, he's in a contract year. I think that the Chargers, even though they will charge her at some point, Chargers going to charge her. But I think he's due for another big year. Maybe a slight touchdown regression, but when you're coming down from 18 and 20 the last 2 years, if he only gets 15, oh well. So I think he's due for a big year, and that's why I was willing to spend a lot of money in all 3 of those cases.
I guess you ain't cheap because he definitely was all expensive. But, yeah, I like that. I'm jealous. I feel like a lot of my running backs on most of my teams, I've stayed true to my strategy of just chasing and spending more money on wide receivers and see if it pans out this year. But I'm a believer. I find most of my teams I'm coming up with Devontae Adams a lot. I have him twice. I have him for $71, and then I also have him for $76. $300 auction leagues. He's just too good to pass up. I think people aren't talking about him just because of his QB. And, I mean, I don't think the QB's great, but, I mean, I don't also think that Derek Carr was that good. And I felt like he was just force-fed. And I feel like he's still going to be in that same, maybe not as far as down the road, but usually I'm, picking between, like, the 8th and, like, 12th pick as far as, like, when I'm actually landing someone. So he's just too good to get. And most people aren't really aggressive on him, so I'm staying aggressive. So That's where I feel.
And, so I'm out on Devontae Adams. Now that might be because I'm a Chiefs fan and he's on the Raiders now, but I do like the price. The price you got him at was a good price at 71 and 76. So I actually don't think that hurts you because I do think he has a very high floor. I think his ceiling might be capped compared to years past, but if it's not, then you got to steal. At 71 and 76.
So I'm hoping. We'll see that.
Yeah. So, all right. I mean, I respect it. Right. It's part of the game. So, my next guy that's ended up on my teams is going to be Deontay Johnson. Now, I've got him on 2 out of 3 leagues. So, he went for $14 in one league. He went for $20 in another. And he went for $17 in the last. I didn't get him in the last for $17. I was out of money. So, I have him for $14 and $20. But I think he's a great value. We've talked about him a lot, it seems like, on this channel.
Absolutely.
Because he's just due. He's due to get more touchdowns than literally 0 last year. And I think he's going to be doing that.
Yeah, I mean, especially if the PPR, half-point PPR, I feel like that's a great steal. You didn't overpay. People were kind of staying away from him. I've seen in almost every league. I even have a couple just normal snake drafts that I do as well. And he's going later. But that was hilarious. But yeah, I'm definitely behind that. I have another player that consistently is finding on my team, just finding his way home, I guess, because I'm a Bears fan. Is Khalil Herbert, licensed to Khalil. I hope this is the year that you prove everybody wrong with everybody in the depth chart behind you with Roshan as well as Dante Foreman. I got him for $19 and then $14. I think he's going to be fine. I mean, he looked great with David Montgomery. I feel like they didn't give him the workload last year because David Montgomery was producing year after year. They just didn't want to pay him. They're rebuilding and they wanted to pay elsewhere, but I think he's almost going to have the workload, as far as workhorse back. So I'm all in. At least I'm hoping I'm right. I'll definitely throw the dart.
Excellent. So my next pick is a little unconventional for fantasy purposes, but I've got Jared Goff in 2 out of my 3 leagues so far, and I'm going to get him tomorrow, I feel like. But I've got him for $1, $2, and then surprisingly in our league together, you got him for $5. So, I think we both are on the Jared Goff train. I think he's got new weapons. I think he's going to be, I think he's going to be throwing a lot. I think they're going to be a good team, and he's going to be the second year in that offense, and I just think it's really going to be good.
Yeah, and I'll piggyback off that. I mean, I just think this year is trying to get as many shares as I could of the Lions. But, I mean, I'm hoping Jared Goff makes, you're right, makes me right, makes us both look good, especially with Amon-Ra St. Brown. So, my final player that just keeps to see, finding his way to my team again, Courtland Sutton. He's pretty cheap. Got him for $5, and I got him for $11. So that's on two teams. I don't think a number one wide receiver in Denver is really established. Jerry Jeudy, he's hurt. I think Courtland, when I saw him in the preseason, he looked good. So I think I'm just gonna go that direction.
Yeah, and the Courtland Sutton's the only receiver on the Denver Broncos that has a 1,000-yard season.
Right.
So I think that's he's a pick at $5, $11. It doesn't really hurt you. If he's not doing well, you can just cut him.
Right.
It's a low, low floor, potentially high ceiling, and that I think that's one you take a shot at. So that is going. I think those are the only ones we have. But what are you excited to see this season, Carlito? You got any predictions, projections? What do you got for us?
I mean, honestly, week 1 is going to be great. There's 3 games in particular that I just can't wait to watch, and I think is going to have a bunch of fantasy points. So my first game I'm excited to watch is Green Bay versus Chicago. I think this is the year that we finally turn the tide, and we're going to get some W's our way this year. I'm hoping we sweep them. I think we're a good team. I'm just really hoping we can, really put everything together as far as, the system. Justin Fields with DJ Moore. I just talked about Khalil Herbert being on my team. I actually landed Justin Fields in a different league. I know you outbid me for him. I'm still a little salty, but that is one game that I'm eyeing. I was also going to say a bonus. I already know which one you'll probably say that you're probably looking forward to. But I'm also excited to look at the Bills-Jets game as well, just to see, those high-flying offenses. I'm hoping those wide receivers are getting, touchdowns. I'm just hoping that they're a fantasy monster game.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, so the games I'm most excited to see outside of that one, obviously Kansas City and Detroit. Thursday Night Football is going to be a great time. And I think golf got a break because it's looking like Chris Jones isn't going to play.
Yeah, he definitely did.
So our pass rush isn't going to be too great. Another game that I'm interested to see this year is in week 1 is going to be the Miami Dolphins versus the Chargers.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That could turn into a shootout. We'll see what Justin Herbert looks like in that offense now that they've got. Who's their new OC? I keep forgetting. Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore's over there now, and everyone. There was a lot of talk last year. Like, oh, who's better? Is it Tua or is it Justin Herbert?
Absolutely. And then what's great about that game in particular is you have at least 2 starting wide receivers on both teams. You have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, and then Keelan Allen, Mike Williams, and then you also have
Quentin Johnson.
Yep. So I'm excited. Plus, star running backs, Eckler. All the work, and then you have Raheem Mostert with no competition, so we'll see if he can hold up and do good. But I'm excited for those games in particular, and I think those are going to be the talk of week 1 for sure.
And so before we get out of here, let's do some Super Bowl and MVP picks. So for my Super Bowl, this might shock some people. I've got the New Orleans Saints ultimately losing. This will not shock people to the Kansas City Chiefs, and I think Mahomes goes back-to-back MVP. So that's my prediction for the season. What are you thinking, Carlito?
Oh, I have 2 MVP candidates. I think it's either going to be Justin Fields or I think it's going to be Jalen Hurts. I think they're going to get it. As far as Super Bowl, I'm going to say it's going to be the Eagles losing to the Bills. I think Bills are going to get over the hump this year. I think they're going to just go a little bit more air yards and they'll be putting up points. I think they've dropped the ball as of late.
And you're just confident they're going to pick it up?
Well, I just feel like, the Chiefs are the standard, and I feel like they've been just below that. And I just feel like this year when everybody's just betting on the Chiefs as the favorite is when they're just probably going to get to the AFC Championship and fumble. Hopefully not, though, for you.
All right. Well, hey, Thanks for joining us on the latest episode of the Fantasy Kings podcast, the last one before the season starts. Any last words, Collin?
Nope, excited.
Nope, excited. All right, well, we're going to head on out of here, but remember, when you play fantasy,
play for the crown.
We'll catch you after week 1.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Fantasy Football Kings. You can always reach out to us on Twitter at FFB_Kings or like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're available wherever you get podcasts, so don't forget to download, subscribe, review, and rate 5 stars.